Good evening and welcome to episode 5 of the Anna Publishing Monthly Research and Ethics series. I am Dr. Aamarpali Roy and I am delighted to have you join today's session on how to write an effective literature review paper for journal publication. Literature reviews are among the most important components of academic research. Whether you are preparing thesis, dissertation, research proposal, or journal manuscript, the ability to review and synthesize existing literature is essential. Many researchers believe that a literature review simply involves collecting articles and summarizing them. However, a high quality literature review requires critical thinking, synthesis, evaluation, and identification of research gaps. In today's session, we will discuss practical strategies that can help researchers prepare literature review papers suitable for publication in academic journals. Before we begin today's discussion, let us briefly connect this session with our previous episode. In episode 4, we explored how to write a research paper for journal publication. We discussed various components of a research manuscript, including the title, abstract, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, and journal submission processes. Today's topic naturally extends that discussion. Before conducting research or writing a research paper, it is essential to understand what has already been published in the field. This is where literature reviews become important. A literature review allows researchers to understand existing knowledge, identify research gaps, recognize methodological trends, and position their own work within the broader academic conversation. Today, we will focus specifically on how to prepare a literature review paper that can stand on its own as a scholarly publication. By the end of this session, you should be able to understand the purpose and importance of literature review papers. You will learn about different types of literature reviews and how they differ from one another. We will discuss practical strategies for searching literature effectively, organizing information, identifying research gaps, and synthesizing findings from multiple studies. We will also examine common mistakes that researchers make when writing literature reviews and explore methods to improve the quality of review papers intended for publication. These skills are valuable not only for publishing review articles but also for improving the quality of dissertations, theses, and original research papers. Let us begin with fundamental question. What exactly is a literature review? A literature review is a critical examination and synthesis of previously published scholarly work related to a specific topic or research question. The key word here is synthesis. Researchers confuse literature reviews with summaries. A summary simply describes what each author has said. A literature review goes beyond description. It compares findings, evaluates evidence, identifies patterns, highlights contradictions, and examines trends. A good literature review helps readers understand the current state of knowledge and reveals areas where additional research may be needed. In a sense, a literature review serves as a bridge between past research and future research. Why are literature reviews so important? First, they help researchers understand what is already known. Second, they prevent duplication of effort by identifying studies that have already been conducted. Third, they help identify gaps in knowledge that may serve as opportunities for future investigation. Literature reviews also provide theoretical foundations for new research and help researchers justify the significance of their studies. For journal editors and reviewers, a strong literature review demonstrates that an author understands the scholarly landscape surrounding the topic. Therefore, literature reviews are not simply academic exercises, they play a critical role in advancing scientific and scholarly knowledge. There are several different types of literature reviews, and each serves a distinct purpose. A narrative review provides a broad overview of a topic and often relies on the author's interpretation of existing literature. A systematic review follows a structured and transparent methodology to identify, evaluate, and synthesize relevant studies. A scoping review maps the existing literature and identifies the range of evidence available on a topic. An integrative review combines findings from diverse methodologies and sources to provide a comprehensive understanding. Meta-analysis is a statistical approach that combines numerical data from multiple studies to generate overall conclusions. As researchers, it is important to choose the type of review that best aligns with your research objectives. One common question concerns the difference between narrative and systematic reviews. A narrative review is generally broader and more flexible. It provides an overview of a topic and often reflects the author's interpretation of the literature. However, because narrative reviews may not follow a predefined search strategy, they can be more susceptible to selection bias. A systematic review, on the other hand, follows a clearly defined methodology. Researchers specify databases, search terms, inclusion criteria, and exclusion criteria before beginning the review. This structured approach enhances transparency and reliability. While systematic reviews are often more rigorous, both approaches can contribute valuable insights depending on the research objectives. One of the most important steps in writing a literature review is locating relevant sources. Researchers should not rely on a single platform. Google Scholar is often an excellent starting point because it indexes a broad range of scholarly materials. ResearchGate can help researchers locate publications and connect with authors. Open access journals provide freely accessible scholarly content. Shodhganga is particularly useful for accessing theses and dissertations submitted to Indian universities. University digital libraries often contain valuable scholarly resources that may not be available elsewhere. Conference proceedings can provide insights into emerging areas of research before they appear in journal publications. Additionally, reference lists from high quality articles can help researchers discover functional studies and influential publications. Using multiple sources increases the comprehensiveness and reliability of your literature search. After identifying appropriate sources, the next step is developing an effective search strategy. Many researchers make the mistake of searching using only one keyword. This often results in missing important studies. A well-defined search strategy begins with identifying key concepts related to the search topic. For example, if your topic is research ethics in higher education, possible keywords may include research ethics, academic integrity, ethical research practices, and higher education. Researchers should also consider synonyms and related terms. Boolean operators such as and, or, and not can significantly improve search results. For example, research ethics and academic publishing. This search will retrieve articles that contain both concepts. Using filters such as publication year, document type, language, and subject area can further refine search results. An organized search strategy saves time and improves the quality of the literature review. Finding articles is only the first step. Researchers must then determine which studies should be included in the review. Not every article found during the search process is relevant or suitable. When selecting studies, consider relevance to the research question. Ask yourself, does this study directly contribute to my understanding of the topic? Next, evaluate the quality and credibility of the source. Peer-reviewed journal articles are generally preferred because they undergo scholarly evaluation before publication. Publication date is another important consideration. While classic studies may still be relevant, researchers should also include recent literature to ensure that review reflects current developments. Finally, examine the research design, methodology, and rigor of each study before including it in your review. Careful selection improves the overall quality of literature review. Once relevant studies have been selected, the next challenge is organization. Many researchers collect dozens or even hundreds of articles but struggle to organize them. One common approach is thematic organization. Studies addressing similar issues or concepts can be grouped together under common themes. Conceptual organization, where literature is arranged according to theoretical ideas or conceptual framework. Researchers may also organize literature according to methodology such as qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method studies. Chronological organization is useful when examining how knowledge has evolved over time. The organization method should support the purpose of the review and help readers understand relationship among studies. A well-organized review is easier to write and easier for readers to follow. Like any scholarly paper, a literature review requires a clear structure. The paper usually begins with a title that accurately reflects the topic of the review. An abstract provides a concise summary of the review's purpose, methods, and major findings. The introduction establishes the context, significance, and objectives of the review. The search strategy explains how literature was identified and selected. Thematic analysis forms the core of the paper. The discussion interprets the finding and highlights implications. The conclusion summarizes key insights and recommendations. Finally, references document all sources used in the review. A clear structure improves readability, enhances publication potential. The introduction sets the stage for entire literature review. A strong introduction should provide background information about the topic. It should explain why the topic is important and worthy of investigation. Researchers should clearly define the scope of the review and explain what aspects will be covered. The objectives of the review should also be stated explicitly. Whenever possible, the introduction should include research questions or guiding questions that direct the review process. A well-written introduction helps readers understand the purpose and significance of the review from the very beginning. Remember, the introduction should create interest while establishing academic relevance. This is perhaps the most important slides of today's session. Many literature reviews fail because they only summarize studies. A high quality literature review requires synthesis. Synthesis means bringing together findings from multiple studies and identifying relationship among them. Researchers should compare findings from different studies. They should contrast areas where conclusions differ. Patterns and recurring themes should be identified. Disagreements and contradictions should be highlighted and discussed. Researchers should also explain how understanding has evolved over time. Rather than discussing one study at a time, synthesis integrates evidence into coherent narratives. This is what distinguishes an excellent literature review from a simple collection of summaries. One of the most valuable outcomes of a literature review is the identification of research gaps. Research gaps represent areas where knowledge is incomplete, inconsistent, or lacking. For example, certain populations may be underrepresented in existing studies. Researchers may discover methodological limitations that affect the quality of available evidence. Contradictory findings may indicate areas requiring further investigation. Emerging topics may also represent opportunities for future research. Identifying research gaps help justify new studies and contributes to the advancement of knowledge. Many successful research projects begin with a careful identified gap in the literature. Therefore, researchers should actively search for unanswered questions and unexplored areas. One practical strategy for organizing literature review is the use of summary tables. Tables allow researchers to compare studies efficiently and systematically. A typical literature review table may include the author's name, publication year, methodology, sample characteristics, and major findings. By placing information side by side, researchers can easily identify similarities, differences, trends, and gaps. Tables also improve readability for journal reviewers and readers. Instead of reading lengthy paragraphs describing each study individually, readers can quickly understand key characteristics of literature review. For large literature reviews, summary tables are highly recommended because they enhance clarity, organization, and synthesis. Let us now discuss some of the most common mistakes researchers make while preparing literature reviews. The first mistake is mere summarization. Many researchers describe one article after another without connecting ideas or identifying relationships among studies. The second mistake is lack of synthesis. A literature review should integrate findings rather than simply list them. Another common problem is relying heavily on outdated references. While foundational studies are important, researchers should include recent literature whenever possible. Weak organization can also reduce the effectiveness of a review. Ideas should flow logically from one section to another. Finally, poor critical analysis is a major weakness. Researchers should evaluate strengths, limitations, and implications of the literature rather than accepting all findings at face value. Avoiding these mistakes can significantly improve the quality and publication potential of a literature review paper. Bias can affect the quality and credibility of a literature review. Researchers must strive for objectivity throughout the review process. One important strategy is ensuring balanced coverage of the literature. Do not include only studies that support your viewpoint while ignoring contradictory evidence. Selection criteria should be transparent and consistently applied. Researchers should also consider diverse perspectives, methodologies, and geographical context whenever relevant. Another important principle is objective interpretation. Findings should be presented fairly, even when they challenge personal assumptions or expectations. A literature review should represent the evidence accurately and responsibly. Maintaining objectivity strengthens both the credibility and scholarly value of the review. Accurate citations and referencing are essential components of academic writing. Proper referencing acknowledges the work of other researchers and help avoid plagiarism. Different disciplines use different citation styles. Common styles include APA, MLA, Chicago, and Vancouver. Regardless of the style used, consistency is extremely important. Researchers should carefully follow journal guidelines regarding citation formats. Reference management softwares such as Zotero, Mendeley, or EndNote can help organize referencing and reduce formatting errors. Before submission, always verify that every in-text citation appears in the reference list and that every reference list entry is cited within the manuscript. Accurate referencing reflects professionalism and academic integrity. Once the literature review paper is complete, preparation for submission becomes critical. The first step is carefully reading the journal's author guidelines. Many manuscripts are rejected simply because authors fail to follow formatting and submission requirements. Researchers should review the manuscript for logical flow, clarity, and consistency. References should be checked thoroughly for accuracy and completeness. Proofreading is essential to eliminate grammatical, typographical, and formatting errors. A plagiarism screening check should also be conducted before submission. Remember that journal reviewers evaluate not only the quality of the content but also the overall presentation of the manuscript. Careful preparation improves the likelihood of a successful review process. After submission, the manuscript enters the peer review process. Reviewers evaluate several important aspects of the literature review. First, they assess whether the literature coverage is comprehensive and relevant. Second, they examine the quality of critical analysis and synthesis. Reviewers also evaluate the novelty of the review. Does the paper provide new insights, perspectives, or interpretations? Organization and structure are equally important. A logical, organized manuscript is easier to understand and evaluate. Finally, reviewers assess the quality of academic writing. Clear, concise, and professional writing creates a positive impression and improves readability. Understanding these evaluation criteria can help researchers prepare stronger manuscripts. Let us briefly summarize the key lessons from today's session. First, literature reviews require synthesis rather than simple summarization. Second, comprehensive and systematic searching is essential for identifying relevant literature. Third, researchers should actively identify research gaps and opportunities for future investigation. Fourth, critical analysis strengthens the quality and scholarly contribution of the review. Finally, strong organization, clear writing, and adherence to academic standards improve publication success. By applying these principles, researchers can develop literature reviews that contribute meaningfully to scholarly knowledge. As we conclude today's session, I would like to emphasize an important point. A literature review is not simply a collection of references, it is a scholarly conversation that examines, evaluates, and connects existing knowledge. An effective literature review helps researchers understand what is known, what remains unknown, and where future research should be directed. Through careful searching, critical analysis, synthesis, and organization, researchers can produce literature reviews that make valuable contribution to their disciplines. Remember, read critically, analyze thoughtfully, Write systematically. Thank you for joining me in episode 5 of Anna Publishing Monthly Research and Ethics series. I hope today's discussion supports your academic writing and publication journey. Before we conclude, let me give you a preview of our next session. In episode 6, we will discuss why research papers get rejected. Top 20 mistakes authors make. Many researchers work extremely hard on their studies, yet manuscripts are often rejected by journals. In this session, we will explore some of the most common reasons for rejection, including weak research design, poor writing and presentation, journal selection mistakes, ethical concerns, formatting problems, and issues that lead to desk rejection before peer review even begins. Most importantly, we will discuss practical strategies to avoid these mistakes and improve publication success. If you are planning to publish your research, you will not want to miss this important discussion. Thank you again for joining Anna Publishing Monthly Research and Ethics series. I look forward to meet you in episode 6. Until then, stay curious, stay ethical, and continue contributing to the advancement of knowledge.